When you think of journalists who had a big impact in their field, who do you think of? Is it Lester Holt? Maybe Barbara Walters? What about Robin Roberts or George Stephanopoulos? Well, there's one name that seems to always get lost in history.
I remember Max Robinson, so I remember him as an anchor for ABC News. I think I was in college when I remember him most, after that. But yeah, he was one of the three anchors on ABC News.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Max Robinson in Chicago, Peter Jennings in London, Barbara Walters' special report.
From Washington, Max Robinson.
Good evening. Interior Secretary William Clark late today removed 3 top aides to former...
At the time, I don't really remember that many African Americans in television news being that prominent. And so it was kind of nice to see someone that prominent, especially on the national scene in television news.
Robinson is credited with being the first African American news anchor in the United States. Robinson began his television career in 1959 when he was hired for a news job in Virginia. He had to read the news while hidden behind a slide of the station's logo. One night, Robinson decided to remove the slide and was fired the next day. He later went to work in Washington, where he stayed for 3 years.
I imagine that he probably, during that time period, probably faced a lot of different hardships because that was a rough time for African Americans.
Although Robinson died suddenly in 1988, his legacy continues to live on. He's paved the way for a new generation of storytellers.
As a Black journalist, it's definitely interesting, I guess. You know, just being able to be in Missouri and being Black, sometimes you kind of have to, you see like the different dynamics and the different way that people treat you. So seeing other people who are as successful as him, you kind of know like, oh yeah, like I can get through this too.
I think like oftentimes people credit the larger like civil rights movement for a lot of the freedoms that Black people get to enjoy today. But I think it's important to recognize the people who like made strides in little pockets in their own little worlds. I think it's really amazing. One thing I always say is I don't want to change the world, I just want to change my world. And like I feel like if everybody works towards changing their own world, then the whole world changes, because that's all of us working towards that.
I know like for me personally, when I watch the news, if I see someone who looks like me, it really, it makes me a little bit more interested in the story. It doesn't really matter what it is per se, but just being able to see someone that I feel like I can connect to, and it feels a little bit more personal just because I feel like I know them, even if I don't, because there's so few of us.